Oh yeah. Is quantity necessary for quality bulldogs? Is Fontenot's Booger the secret hidden gem? Are Hispanic dogmen just simply better promoters than everyone else? Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Once again, it's on another episode of Bulldog Court, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to join me tonight for this episode where we analyze the evidence and let you, the Bulldog community, decide which way the tide may roll. Our first case, so we want to look at, is quantity necessary for quality bulldogs? We're going to take a good look at this. We're going to visit both sides, and once again we're going to let the community decide. On one side, we see where a dog man or woman may feel as though, I don't need all those dogs to come up with the type of dogs that I need. That's if all the stars align. I go to the right particular dog breeder. I get the right dogs I need. I put them together, and voila, like magic, I have just what I need. Confirmation intact. Attitude. Everything is intact. And now I'm off and running with my breeding program. Maybe you just got a good eye or a whole lot of luck on your side. Either way, you may not feel as though the high numbers are necessary. Or maybe it's that all of the heavy lifting has been done for you by the breeder. The breeder has went through the quantity process, and so now you don't have to, because he's already or she's already went through everything, found out what's what, worked out all the kinks, and now that's all for your purchasing power pleasure, I guess. That would be one way to look at this. But on the other side of this coin, you may see where those numbers, that quantity, gave way to that quality. You may say the higher my numbers are, the greater chance I got of getting the golden egg, of getting the prized possession, of getting what I need. And in higher numbers of quality, depending on what it is you're trying to do. If you're a peddler, if you're a seller of quality animals, it behooves you to have your numbers high so that you can sell more. Who wants to come to a place time and time again and there's nothing available because I don't have but so many, and once I looked through everything, nothing met the quality that I was looking for to even be presentable for me to sell. So I don't have anything right now, And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that approach. And I do also understand that there are certain bloodlines, certain families of dogs that just simply throw higher numbers of durable, usable, just outstanding animals at a higher rate than other bloodlines. You may get some Eli dogs, and you may have to go through a lot of those to find the ones that you really want to keep. or you really want to sell that will best represent your yard. And that's the sacrifice that you would probably have to make when you're dealing with that type of particular family versus more G-Red boy, Bolio Tombstone boy, other dogs that may have a higher percentile, Red Boy Jocko, and those animals will give you higher numbers just off the rip. But then on the other side of that coin, I understand the predicament that many of us who are in the Bulldog community find ourselves in, where the climate and the way it is in America, for those of us that's in America, it just may not be feasible to have a big yard. Those days may be long gone for all the wrong reasons. People thinking that you're trying to do some illegal activities or whatnot, but you're simply going through the proper process of going through the animals, culling the ones that you don't want. Cull does not mean kill. It just simply means those are the ones that you will not be using in your breeding program. Very simple. And because of the climate now, we all may be forced to go with a small number, and then to get the quality animals out of those small numbers, because we are pretty much forced to have a small yard. But we all understand, who have been in the Bulldog game enough time, understand that all of this is just simply a patient game anyway. It's a game of patience. If you don't have patience, you might want to find you something else to do, because nothing really ever goes as planned in the Bulldog world. Everything that can happen indeed will happen. So I have presented both sides. And in the case of, is quantity necessary for quality bulldogs? What does the Bulldog community say about this matter? In the case of, is quantity necessary for quality in bulldogs? The case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldogin with Bo, on DogmanTv, Thursdays and Sundays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
Is for this next case. Is Fontenot Booger the real hidden gem? Or better yet, even better than that, is Fontenot Booger one of the biggest secrets in Bulldogs? The secret sauce you never knew could be one to say about Fontenot Booger. If you don't know anything about Fontenot Booger, I put some right here. Picture of Fontenot Booger, along with his pedigree. A Maloney bred dog. Off Maloney's Davis and Maloney's Crip. Both off Maloney's Toot. If you know who Maloney's Toot is the sire of Patrick's, and at one time Mayfield's Tombstone. The old Tombstone dog that Pat Patrick had. We can look down into Mexico. We can look down into the southwestern part of America, the Texas area, Arizona, New Mexico, maybe even Louisiana area. Of course, we know about the influence that it had in Mississippi, Mississippi Hot. And we know what that sauce did for the bullets in line, For whatever reason, when we talk about that line, unless you're knowledgeable, like somebody like J-Bo or Mississippi Hot himself, or you're just a pedigree stickler, you will kind of overlook Fontenot Booger in the pedigrees of some dogs. because maybe you don't know who that is, or you don't know what type of influence he wielded in this game. But if you go across that border, oh man, they probably can tell you a story that'll probably fill your head. It might be in Espanol now. It might be in Espanol, but they're gonna fill your head up with all types of stories of influence and impact that Fontenot Booger had. It's many people's opinion that this animal is if an Eli dog is a Chevy Nova, just the body, the tires, you know what I'm saying, you gutted it out, it's light as a feather. Well, then Fontenot Booger is definitely the engine that, and probably armed and equipped with nitrous, you know what I'm saying, ready to blow the doors off that joker to make it what it is. The Nova is what it is. It's the body, all the power, and everything that Eli brings, but that Fontenot Booger puts the engine in them, 'Cause a lot of people have certain things they will say about Eli dog, even though we have seen in the past in historical sense very, very, extremely well-rounded, Eli dogs. We know that sometimes if they get in a bad predicament, they may not look as good as you once thought, or it may not look good at all. But you have to have some stuff in there that gives them sustainability, and this is what Fontenot Booger brings to the table. It's something that I'm presenting to the Bulldog community to really look at, analyze, talk about, have a discussion. That's all subject matter on this show, but just to look at these type of animals that otherwise wouldn't get recognized or overlooked. They may look like a filler in a pedigree if you're not knowledgeable. If you're not knowing the impact of this animal, you will look at that and just go right over that pedigree and maybe not think nothing of it. But then, like I said, if you're in looking at Mexican, our brothers from across the border, looking at their animals, and certain ones of their animals, especially back maybe about 30, maybe at least about 30, 40 years ago, if you go back in the pedigree, he is prominent in the pedigree. So you could tell just by looking at the pedigree that something is up with this dog, because they breathing the wheels off this dog. This dog is in 1/4, he is the sire on everything back there, so you can see his influence. We're going to get into some of the dogs that you may not know, you may know, or you may especially need to know with Fontenot Booger in it. Now, we're going to cover just a few dogs from the lineage of Fontenot Booger. We want to leave everything. We're not going to go over it all. We're going to leave that for the discovery of the Bulldog community to go in and do their research and continue and put in what your findings are in the comments below, and just to further all of our knowledge. We all learning. This is all a learning process of what we discover in this wonderful world of the Bulldog world. When we look at first of all, just by pairs, man, Fontenot Booger threw a grand champion and at least 3 champions on his own. We not talking about we just talking about off the top. With grand champion Riero, Morphins champion Remington, Mauricio and Morphins champion Safari, Fontenot champion Dollar, and of course, my good friend, one of the best guys in the world, if he listening, one of the best families in the world. Mr. Boudreaux had a dog named Skinny. I don't want no trouble, especially after last week episode. Boudreaux family, I don't want no trouble. I ain't did nothing to nobody. Okay, now we're gonna look at Morphins and Cordelia's Camajan, one-time winner and a brother to Cordelia's champion Chateau. And if you remember, I just want to throw this in here. when I was saying that it's dogs that, when you look back in their pedigree, is Fontenot Booger, the whole quarter. Just check out Morphins Brosa, Brosa, and you'll see where this dog was used for a out, being bred to stuff like Cordelia Shorty or T-Bud type stuff, and you will see where every one of her ancestors in her pedigree, Fontenot Booger is the sire. It's breeding the balls off of them. So, it's just one example. Or either Morphins Jennifer is another one, which is a double-bred daughter of Fontenot Booger who produced Flores Champion Maya. And when bred to Boudreaux's T-Bud, they took Maya and bred her to Cordelia Shorty and got Big E's Maria, who beat 2 champions in under 30 minutes. Ooh, we made. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this particular dog. She may not have anything to do with the discussion, so to speak. She's not off Fontenot Booger, but she is a Maloney dog and had a great impact. And that's none other than Black Rivers Dempsey. If you study her pedigree, you'll see very much similarities, especially on the top side of the Maloney's Davis and all of that off of 2. Only difference is she has, the Bullison Eli stuff on the bottom, which is the same cross I'm talking about that's been so successful over the border. This is, Black Rivers, and shout out to them or to him and creating dogs like, Grand Champion Big Spike and many others bred similar to what I'm talking about pertaining to Fontenot Booger. So I just couldn't leave the discussion without mentioning yet another hidden gem, Black Rivers Dempsey. So I have presented the second case. Is Fontenot Booger a real hidden gem? You can agree or disagree. Maybe you think he's just a filler. Maybe you think I'm putting too much credence into Fontenot Booger and his impact. That is for the Bulldog community to decide. Or maybe you already knew about him and he's not a gem to you because you knew he was what he was. But that is for the Bulldog community to decide. The case of is Fontenot Booger a real hidden gem is now dismissed. Now, before I get into this last case for the night, I gotta set the mood right. I gotta set the mood right. Are Hispanic dog men just better promoters than everyone else? That is my question I propose to the Bulldog community. I'll take you down this rabbit hole of where this theory or idea originated from, just in observation from the outside looking in, from about maybe 1996 or 97 up until at least the present time. I want to take you back to the SDJ days, back when, Southern Kennels Grand Champion Mayday graced the cover of the magazine. I believe that was about around 1996. And at that time, and maybe it was happening before that, there was an influx of more Hispanic brothers building themselves up along with African American dog men, building themselves up, gaining momentum, moving into a new era in the dog world. And it began to spill over into other avenues and have complete success in many different avenues. And at the same time, there were others, like I said, African Americans, also Caucasian Americans, and abroad that were having the same type of success simultaneously at the same time. But it seems as though to me, and just from my observation on the outside looking in, once again, that the Hispanic community, dog men and dog women community just seem to have a bit of an edge on the way in which they promote it. It could have something to do with their support system. It could have something to do with their how linked in they are in their networking. It could have something to do with how well outsiders, everybody else, supported this movement, if you will. I can go back to Southern Kennels, Stone City, Latin 187, Havana Boys, CML, Latino Family, all these different ones, Evolution, even Chico Lopez, and they have, it's been known to people who in the know, they haven't always seen eye to eye on a lot of things, but there's certain things that they have some type of a bottom line on what's gonna happen and what's really not gonna happen. But I think they all tend to agree on the marketing and advertising of these animals. And we can see where really, if you look at it, this is just my perspective as I am pleading this case to the Bulldog community. They really built up, possibly, I'm not a pocket watcher or counter, but they could have, at least within those conglomerates of kennels, they could have probably generated over millions of dollars in the selling of animals, basically out of about 4 families of dogs and maybe about 3 or 4 main components, Mayday, Stone City being 2, then after that, you go down the totem pole of what happens after that, who gives birth to Evolution, who gives birth to Chico Lopez, who gives birth to Latin Forest Kennels, who had Barracuda when he made Dog of the Year. Some people may not know that. Then you have, in the backdrop of it all, is a couple of power moves that happened when the SDJ, the last owner, the late Jack Kelly, turned over the SDJ to work kennels. Okay, and you see where certain conglomerates or kennels all begin to put their bid in to use the catalyst of the SDJ, in my opinion, to further market themselves, and rightfully so. Because we all know that if Jack Kelly, it was all about, really, it was a lot of politics in play. It was a lot about me and my friends in my magazine. And I can put whatever I want in my magazine or not put whatever I want in my magazine. And it really doesn't matter because it's my magazine. So, I have a direct say so in what gets promoted and what doesn't. Okay? Other people, they chose to put an article inside of the magazine talking about how many champions they had and, the politics involving with Mason Champion Smiley and him not being further up on the list when it clearly shows that he has a lot more champions than the dogs that are in front of him on the Register of Merit list, and the politics involved in that. So that's always been that play. So when we look at work kennels, and then we know we've heard other people like Twin and Going Hard Kennels talk about it at the same time simultaneously when Macho Buck became Dog of the Year. I forget what year that was. I believe Barracuda was 2001, and I think he might have been 2004, I believe, on the cover of the SDJ. And there were other candidates for Dog of the Year that had maybe had went against a far harder competition in their eyes. That's all in the eye of the beholder of what you consider, top-notch competition. If you don't know those guys, you may not know how tough a competition they were. But in their eyes, there were more known names that they had been defeated for us, like Champion Dynamite, that True Colors had. There was a couple of other candidates that people felt were more worthy of being that. But it goes down to whoever owns the magazine can dictate what happens with the cover, the back of it. We remember Buckshot, Burt Sherrill, had the back cover for many years. And I think before that, Maurice Carver had it for many years, and that was dictated by not just them sending the money in to pay for that, but he dictates who gets that the back cover of that magazine, just like he dictates who gets the cover of the magazine. So, this was I feel like a great move on their behalf to further promote, the Mayday Stone City Macho Buck brand. Well, it wasn't quite a brand at that time, but it was sure turning into one. And this furthered their cause. And so with that, a enormous amount of popularity has grown behind these animals. And this has turned over into, I'm sure. I'm not a pocket watcher, but I'm sure. Well, I ain't sure, but I'm saying there's a lot of people went and bought those dogs because of the influence. And it just, in my opinion, is it just me? Am I wrong for that assumption? Because that's just what it is, an assumption. Bulldog community, am I wrong for even looking at this as they just better promoters? They just flat out better promoters, even though they have a different of opinion. Even though we know Jesse beat up Chico. Or it was rumored that he got beat up. So, but even at the end of the day, they're still able to come together. And no matter what, we're going to promote these families of animals. We're going Mayday till the wheels come off, and we're going to ride the rim till it fall apart. You understand me? We're going Stone City, Nico, Yellow Buck to death, until the wheels fall off. We're going Havana Boys, Jumping Jack Flash, until we can't jump. No more. We're going all the way. We're going CML champion weight can until we can't. No more. Do you understand what I'm saying? They have look like to me, they have a mission to push and promote their dogs, and rightfully so. And forget everybody else, rightfully so. Or am I wrong for that? Am I wrong for that, Bulldog community? Am I missing something? It's something that somebody could put in the comment section to school me. Sometimes, the dog men get schooled, You get schooled out on something that you didn't know. You get put on to something. Maybe it's an avenue I'm not looking at. But we saw this, in my opinion, in the promotion of Jeep. We know that Jack Kelly and Jane Crenshaw were very good friends. We know that there was a lot of attention paid into the Jeep Homer match. We know that the story was told. A lot of people that witnessed this thing said that they actually fell asleep in the middle of the match or something like that. It was not as dramatic, but yet the story was told in dramatic fashion, in compelling fashion, to the point that many of us still love Jeep today, his influence. But of course, I understand that you better win too, baby. Your publication and you're talking about the dogs and you promoting your dogs, but if that don't equate to some type of success in real life when I own the hound and feed it, it really matters me nothing. I'm really gonna have a different opinion about you. Come on, man. After I spent my money, took the time up, and yet I have not the same success that you had or that you claiming to have. But we see that was not the case on either part. Not the case with Crenshaw and Jeep. Many success to the point that he is the number one registered American dog, as far as we are concerned. Tom, TG might have a difference of opinion, with Frisco, but we're going to leave that where it is. And we're going to look at the fact that Jeep, we can go hand in hand with the promotion of him, the way he was advertised, the way his story was presented to us through the SDJ, propel the breeding of him and having many top quality females to come to Crenshaw to breed the Jeep because of the compelling story, because of how well he was promoted, because of how he was put in our face on a consistent basis, and making sure to notarize and to make sure to highlight his sons and daughters that would eventually go on to be successful and make champ or grand champ. We would get those dogs inundated in our face at all times to make sure that we know that Jeep is that one. He's that dog. So in light fashion, we see what Victor and everybody else and Evolution, everybody else, where they put Mayday and Stone City, put Nico all up in our face. They put it all up in our face, but it wasn't for no reason, because those animals were being extremely successful. And it goes hand in hand with the same thing I just said. It could go hand in hand with the fact that because they were marketed so well, they were so good at advertising, that attracted even more winning females to get bred to those studs. And so that increases your chances tremendously, rather than you breed to somebody's trash. That's right. Trash. And then thinking that you're going to breed your good dog to some trash and get something that's worth something. So this is the case that I'm presenting to the Bulldog community. Are Hispanic dogmen just better promoters than everyone else? Are they just flat out just better than everyone else? They take advantage of every opportunity to promote their animals to the best of their ability by hook or crook, Chico. By hook or crook, by international, galactic, grand champion, into space balls, grand champion, whatever we can name, I could come up with, intergalactical, grand champion, whatever it is, whatever I could come up with to promote my animal and make you believe, in whatever the case may be, whether it be true or not, that this animal is more superior than everyone else and everybody else is just a piece of. So this is the case I'm pleading. Are Hispanic dogmen just better promoters than everyone else? The case is now dismissed. Okay, we're going to try out a new segment of the show called Did You Know? Did you know that there is a grand champion with Yellow John in it without Jocko? His name is Jacob's double grand champion, Assassin 2. But it's a question mark behind him. But is he truly recognized as a grand champion? I'm going to just take their word for it. I don't know. But hey, they say he won 7, he won 7. They say he won 10, he won 10. If mama called him Clay, I'm going to call him Clay. So that's the Did You Know portion of the show. Now it's time for my closing monologue. I like to say, make your next move your best move. But start to look ahead 2 and 3 steps like a chess move, whether it be in life or in dogs. The same rules do apply. Because we understand that life can be a little bit, and so we want to take heed to every sign. Make sure we pay attention to the details. Man, y'all that got the hounds, man, don't be lazy, man. Walk your stuff out, man. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.